I grew up in an upper middle class family. Both my mother and my father were college educated. My grandfather was the mayor of my hometown. I graduated from Hurley High School, had a chance to go to play football for Wisconsin State University. I turned that down and went into the military. I spent 4 years in the Navy, another 2 years in the Army, and then I got out when all the money was being made in the Gulf. I was a commercial diver. I was a deep sea diver. So I got out of the military. During that time, I got hurt a couple years later. I wasn't able to work. I got more involved in the motorcycle gang than I was involved in. And that led to me traveling the country and doing some things I shouldn't have done. I ended up in prison for life for getting involved in a situation at a bar that I decided to step in the middle of, and I ended up shooting somebody, and that's why I ended up in prison. From there, I pretty much determined that I was gonna change. Because at that point, that was the defining point of my life. I had to make a decision that day, and I made a decision to do things for the right. So I went in and pled guilty to everything I had, all across everywhere that I was involved in had charges, and I just took the sentences as they were. In 2010, they called me back from Florida where I had been sent to do my time because I had dropped out of the gangs, so it wasn't very safe for me to be in the California system. They brought me back and they gave me parole. How it happened is a little bit of a long story. It's unheard of, but they did let me out. 2011, I came here where my wife lives. She's a dialysis patient, and I had told her mom and dad that I would never take her too far away from her. She's been on dialysis for 23 years. So we bought our first home here in SLO. From that point, I went out to Cuesta, and I knew I was determined. I knew I was going to be able to do what I needed to do, but at the same time, you have that feeling in the back of your mind, come on, let's really think about this. You have a history, and it's always going to show up. Well, about a year at Cuesta, I filed for federal work study, and it went in front of Gil, and Gil took it in front of the cabinet because they do a life scan, and all my past came up. So the cabinet decided they didn't want me, that I shouldn't be on campus, however it was decided. And I had already been there for a year. I was the president of the AGS, of the Honor Society, and I was already tutoring students. So I met Gil about 2 weeks before the Teacher's Appreciation Night, and I walked out of and I seen him and I introduced myself. And when he found out, when it came up that I was the one that was turned down, he immediately told me to make an appointment with him. And 2 days later, I met in his office and spent 2 hours with him. And for the first time since this journey started, I knew that I could do it because he accepted me for my face value. And everybody in this community has. I came to Cuesta College with a 2-year degree. All I needed was a couple classes, and I had a scholarship to Cal Poly. I had decided I wanted to go into power electronics, and then I later found out that I couldn't work at Diablo because of my past. So I was already at Cuesta, and I had met Dr. Gutierrez and some other teachers, the whole staff. And I decided I wanted to be an educator and get into education. So I changed my major. I got involved in a program with CSU Monterey Bay that allowed me to continue to take my math classes at Cuesta, which was why I gave the commencement speech this year, and then left that day and drove to Monterey Bay and walked for my bachelor's degree that next day. So it was an interesting. Where I'm at now, I've been accepted to Cal Poly's Computer Science Master's Program, but I've also been guided to apply for the National Science Foundation Griff Fellowship, which in order to apply for it, I can't enter my actual program until the announcements are made in May of the awardees, which there's 2,000 of them given every year. So I've made arrangements, and I've been allowed to put off my entering till summer of next year. So for the next year, I'm going to just look for local jobs. Me and my wife still run our ministry out of our house. We try to help the homeless. We have a home. So we stay busy, and we try to give back to the community. And I just want to thank you all, because this is an amazing community. And no matter how hard you want to change, no matter what choices you make, there comes a time when you need other people. You can't do it alone. And this community showed me that it's still there. You can make the mistakes, but when you really change and you're serious, the people in this community open their arms. And the school showed me how to be a man again. and I appreciate it. Thank you.